Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial are going to be these double-sided, or double thick I should say, not double-sided, double thick hot pads. So this is also another one of the redo videos. When I first filmed this, back when I first started my channel, I wasn't very good at it, first of all, and then second, like, my camera had this bad milky filter on it and I could not figure out how to fix it. And finally I figured it out, and then I just never went back and redid the video. So I'm doing it now. But, so like I said, these are double thick hot pads. And they are made with acrylic yarn. This is one of the prettier ones I have. These are all used, like very, very well used. They're filthy, they're dirty. We use them all the time. And I usually throw them in the washer, I just haven't lately. But I'm going to show you my cleaner one here. So what we have, if I grab each side, you can see that it's double thicked. So, did I say thicked? Double thick. Double the thickness. Okay? And this is a little bitty one we're going to make in the tutorial. Or, well, that I make. So let's talk about the size. So, basically when it comes to the size of what you want your square to be, you just chain a length. So let's say this square right here. Let's move all this out of the way. Alright, this square measures 5 by just about 5. So about 5 by 5. It's probably not 5 by 5 because it's been used so many times. But what we do is we chain a length, okay? And then we work our pattern and work it and work it and work it. And what that does is it creates these two corners. Not these two, these two. And then we work it until it comes together, and then we create these two corners. So if you want a 5 by 5, you chain a length, or I shouldn't say 5 by 5. If you, depending on the size square you want, chain a length that would go from corner and corner to this way, right? So let's say 6 inches. So then just mark something here and here, and then come and go 6 inches here and here, and then just mark there and there. So if you chain 6 inches, you're going to roughly get a 5 by 5 square. Like I mean, you can tell I'm just rough estimating here. It's going to give you about a 5 by 5 inch square. Okay? So you can follow that finagled math. So, I mean, you can chain a piece that is 12 inches. You know, and then just I use the tip of my scissors to the tip of my pin. Tip of my needle. How about to the tip of my pack of gum? So you're going to get roughly a 9.5 inch, 10 inch square. So you guys can play with any chain length you want. It really does not matter. The shorter the chain, the smaller the square. The longer the chain, the bigger the square, right? But so you chain your length, okay? And then I'm going to show you guys the pattern. And what we do is we're going to work around and around and around and around. And what that does is create like a little bowl on each side of our chain. So a little bowl here and a little bowl here. And what we do is we go around and around, and it starts to close in. Well, actually it would be like this. It would start to close in, and then we sew it shut, and there is our hot pad. So let's talk about the yarn. The yarn I use on all of these little squares is acrylic. And I know that, you know, there's a big controversy for using acrylic on a hot pad. And I totally agree. If you are going to make a hot pad, it needs to be cotton. However, this is double thick double the thickness, so you can get away with it on this hot pad. No other hot pad do you use acrylic. Use cotton, but on this one it's perfectly fine. I made actually in my original video I made a little 8x8 casserole dish. I couldn't get it out. A glass casserole dish. I just threw corn dogs in it and baked it at like 450 degrees for 25 minutes, and I took my hot pads. Don't laugh because I think this one is pretty filthy. I took my hot pads and pulled it out, and I stood there and I held on to the sides with the hot pads and waited until I could feel the heat through the hot pads, and it was a good 45 seconds, 30 seconds until I could feel the heat, and then I set down the casserole dish. So like I said, this is the only pattern I would ever recommend that you use, or that you can use acrylic yarn. And you can use any hook. So I just use a 5mm hook, but you can use a 4.5, a 4mm, a 6mm. It's up to you, whatever hook you like best, use that. I'm trying to think of what else. Okay, so, and you can tell, see the ridges in this piece. This is the piece I make in the tutorial, but you can see the little ridges. What we do is we work in the back loops of the single crochets. You don't have to do that. You can just do regular single crochets. I just like the back loop because it creates that pretty little ridge. And you can feel it. You can feel the bumps in it. Alright, so you get any kind of scrap acrylic yarn you have, and I suggest a 4-weight acrylic yarn. No 3 weights. 5 weights probably way too much, but a 4-weight acrylic. Any 4-weight acrylic, okay? And then any 4, 5, 6mm. I would suggest a 6.5 is probably too big. Don't go to a 6.5. Go to a 6, 5, 4, 4.5, 5.5. Anywhere from a 4 to a 6. Okay? And then a needle to weave in your ends, and that's it. So it's just an easy little square. I keep showing this one because this one is the cleanest. Alright. Alright, get your guys' supplies together and let's get started. Alright, to get started, now like I said in the beginning, you guys can chain any length you want. For a decent size hot pad, I would suggest chaining chaining 60, 65, 70, 75, somewhere in that range. But for today's video, I just got a short little chain to show you guys what we're going to do. So once you get your chain done, what we are going to do is we are going to work in the back loops, the back hump, all down that back. So what I do is I pull up the loop on my hook, I pull that up a little bit and then rotate my chain. So that way I can see right there is that first back hump I need to work into. Because if you got it, if you got it like this and then you try to turn and look, it gets all kind of cramped together. So just pull it up just a tad, give yourself some space, rotate, and right there is the first back hump that we're going to work into, okay? And you're just going to insert, and we're going to work a single crochet. It's a little tougher to do on camera. There. Work one single crochet. Now just work one single into each back loop all the way down your chain. Got a little piece of something extra there. Nice and easy. Not too tight, not too loose. Alright, I'm going to get mine done and I will be right back. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've come down to the end and I've got 2 chains left. Right there's my second to last back loop, and then right here is my last back loop. So I'm going to single crochet into that second to last. And I'm going to go into that the last back loop with one single, And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it slightly and go right back in there with another single. I'm going to get that tail out of the way. Okay, so that last back loop has 2 single crochets into it. Okay, so let's pause for a second and look at what we got, what we have here. Okay, so we just, with our little piece, we chained this way, right? Then we turned and we worked into the back loops back down our chain. And now what we have is a piece that looks like this. So what we have are actual single crochets on this side that we just worked, but the side that we're going to come back down looks like single crochets, right? But that's actually the remaining loops of our chain. But we're gonna treat them like they're single crochets, okay? So what we're gonna do now is work back loop single crochets down the remaining loops of our chain, but we're gonna treat them like they're singles, right? So to back loop single crochet, we're just gonna go into, like, if you look, you have a front loop and a back loop. This is when you hold your work, what determines the front and back is what's towards you and what's away from you. So what is towards me is the front loop. What's away from me is the back loop. So we're into that very first one right here, right there. We're gonna go right into the put your hook right between both those loops and pick up that back loop, and then we're gonna single crochet, and that's all we're gonna do. So into the next one right here, just go right in and work around that back loop. We're gonna back loop all the way. I said back loop, what I should have said was back loop single crochet all the way to the end. It's just that easy. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and stay with you guys and get this done. Next one, the next one, right there, there. So you can see I have 2 left. See, right here and right here. So I'm going to go into the next one and then into that last one. And now we're going to rotate again. So what we're looking at now is that chain that remember how at the we finished that chain and then we back loop single crocheted into the second chain. So right here is the first chain that we skipped, but we're still going to just go ahead and work into the back loop. So you can see there's a little loop here and a little loop here. We're going to go right into that back loop. All right. And if you can't see yours, it's not a huge deal. You can just go ahead and skip that. But we're going to go, it's a little tight. Get in there and work a single crochet. And now we're going to rotate our piece again, and now we're back to the single crochets on the other side. And we're just going to keep back loop single crocheting. And that is all the pattern is. Just back loop single crochet around and around and around and around our chain. So I'm just going to keep going. And now we don't even need to focus on the ends. The two ends here and here, because we've already got our base set up. So now we just keep going around and around and around. And what is eventually going to start happening is these two sides are going to start closing in on each other. So I'm at the ends and I'm just back loop single crocheting around. Okay, so you can see what's going to start happening. If I could stop. So you see how it kind of bold right there? I don't know what the what term I want to say, but you see how it created a little bowl? Just get your finger in there and flip it out, just like that. So this is what your piece should look like. All right, so I'm going to get to the other end so it does it creates that little bowl on the other end. Get down there. So I'm just going to keep back loop single crocheting around. Alright, there it created the bowl on the other side. So I'm going to stop and flip that out, just like that. Here's our tail, and you can go ahead and cut that or weave it in, doesn't matter. Alright, so what you're going to do is just keep back loop single crocheting around and around and around. And what you'll notice are these two sides are going to start coming together. Now what that's going to create is a square. However, it's not corner to corner, like if here is my square, right? Like that. What it's going to create is a opposite corner. So not this corner and this corner come together. This corner and this corner are going to start coming together like that. So what I'm going to actually do, if you guys want to bear with me for just a minute, I'm going to pause my video and I'm going to work a few rounds on this and then come back and show you exactly what I'm talking about, how it'll start closing, it'll start coming together, okay? So I'm going to work this for a few more rounds and the same thing, nothing special, nothing different, back loop single crochet. Oh, excuse me, around and around and around, okay? So I will be right back. Okay, so I have worked around and around a little bit, and you can see how it's starting to come together. Let me get one of my little samples here that's not filthy. Alright, so I'll just grab this one. So you can see we're creating are these two corners, or these two, which however you hold it, right? And then whenever we sew this together is what's going to create the other two opposite corners. So all you're going to do is just back loop single all the way around and around and around, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you when we're going to stop. Basically what it's going to look like are when our single crochets are setting just like that. So when you've worked it around and around and your single crochets are setting right next to each other and you're at one of the ends, one of your new corners that we created, that's when we're going to stop, alright? So I've probably got just a couple more rounds to work real quick. I'm going to get mine done and I'll be right back. Okay, so I was just working along and I stopped and then brought my two sides together, and you can see where I'm at. I'm right there, and my single crochets are sitting right on each other. So I'm going to go ahead and work up to this corner up here. And it doesn't matter which corner. Excuse me, it doesn't matter which corner. Which corner you end on. I'm going to call that good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am just going to slip stitch into the next single, back loop only still, chain one, and I'm going to pull up a decent size loop so I can use that tail to weave this shut. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is so if you guys heard my husband and my daughter yell for me, they went fishing this morning, and on their way back they picked a bouquet of wildflowers for me, so they were yelling at me to come and see it. So I'll insert a picture here so you guys can see it. Alright, so let's get this done. Alright, so get your tail on your needle, and what we are going to do is we're going to go stitch single crochet for single crochet. You may have to skip one or two because I doubt it's going to be exactly the same. But what we're going to do are the loops, the 2 loops to the inside of each single, we're just going to sew together. And you guys can close these however you want to. This is just how I prefer to do it. And now we're going to go to the next one and get this loop and this loop. And this loop and this loop. And that is what we're going to do all the way down. Just sewing it shut. Oh. So when you give it a little bit of a tug, that's the seam we're going to have. Alright? So go ahead and just sew the rest of the way, and I will meet you when I get to this corner. Okay, I'm coming to the end, and I've got this one, and well, I split it right there. There, and then I've got these 2 right here, and then I've got this last one. I'm just going to catch the loop, go right inside of the hot pad, and I'm going to come out somewhere. Don't go through the yarn, just go through your stitch and pull it through. Give it a nice little tug, but hold on to it. And cut. And there is your little hot pad. Ta-da! See how easy that was? I'm going to try not to show these really nasty ones, but so when you use the acrylic yarn, I mean, they don't lose their shape. Yes, you lose the stitch definition and they're not exactly as pretty as they were, but they work perfectly fine, and it's an awesome way to use up your scrap. So thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. If you did, hit that thumbs up. Man, that one's filthy. Hit that thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think of these little hot pads. I love these things. They're so fun and quick and easy to make. And subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss what's next from me. And I'll see you in the... Oh, check out that description box too. I got links to my Facebook, Instagram, all kinds of social media stuff. All kinds of links too.
Thumbs up, Buttercup.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.